Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Gaming Podcast. My name is Rich, and I'm going to be your host for this evening's special episode. Why is it special, you may ask? Well, of course, it's another round of book club. This month's book club for November is 12 minutes. It is the most recent book club, or the game that has been released the most. It's the game that has been released the newest of the book clubs that we have played. There we go. I finally got it. Hey, guys. Nice to see you. With me, I have Matt and Chris. Welcome, gentlemen.
Should we try to do this episode in 12 minutes?
Yeah, we could try and do this episode in 12 minutes.
Yeah, we could give it a shot.
I will say yes, if we can keep going over the same thing over and over again.
We have to
but in different, we got to go do this in different, like a different order or something. Anyway, yes. So 12 minutes is our current book club. So we'll be talking about that this evening, kind of going over some of our thoughts and opinions, our general feedback of the game, and more or less a review, but not really a review. More, we're just going to have a chit chat about it and give our thoughts and opinions. Before we dive into that, though, just a couple of quick announcements to get out of the way. We will be taking our holiday break starting December 18th. So if you are an avid listener, as I'm sure you all are, from December 18th to January the 15th, you will be without new content. Fear not, we will be back on the January the 15th, and we will have another book club ready for you by then. So if you're here for just the book clubs, stay tuned for that, or join us on Discord and give us a suggestion. We love to hear your feedback on what sort of book clubs you would like to see us do. If you're interested in finding our Discord, you can find it at campfiregamingpodcast.com. There you can also find our Twitter links at campgamepod, and you can find our Instagram at campfiregamingpodcast. So follow us, subscribe to us, all that good stuff so that you can be in the know as to when we are dropping new episodes of content. So with that said, let's dive into 12 minutes. You guys ready to rock?
So, if this is your first book club with us, there are spoilers ahead.
Yep. Yes. So, as Matt said, there will be spoilers. I was just getting to that, but yes, there will be spoilers.
I'm really good at this. You and Mike are always ready to say something, and I just jump in there and ruin it. So
yeah, see, you're good. Yeah, you're just excited. That's all that it is. You're just excited to get in and start talking about this. All right. So a little bit of details about the game. So 12 minutes, developed by Luis Antonio as a single developer. So that's pretty cool. I always love games like that actually kind of hit it big and get really good press, because you don't really get much more indie than a single person. Published by Annapurna Interactive, released on pretty much every platform you can imagine: PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Stadia, Steam, all the good stuff. I don't think it's on... it comes to Switch on December the 7th, which is my birthday. So if you are on Twitter, be sure to wish me a happy birthday. It is a single-player point-and-click adventure game. So if you're into point-and-click adventure games of old, such as like The Mist or the Monkey Islands, of that sort of thing, you might be able to find this in your kind of cup of tea. But this one has a bit of a twist. That twist is that you play in a single apartment, and you are running through time over and over again. You're running through the same 12-minute loop. The general story synopsis here is that a husband returns to his apartment after work and is greeted by his wife, who surprises him with news that she is pregnant. As they start to celebrate, a man claiming to be a cop knocks on their door and accuses the wife of murdering her father. The cop attacks them. He's got an axe to grind against the two of them, and then proceeds to strangle the husband to death. The husband then wakes up back in the apartment where he first started. So, what are your guys' general thoughts on point-and-click adventure games? Is this kind of your cup of tea, or is this like, this is not a genre you really touch?
Well, I'd highly recommend, if you're playing a point-and-click adventure, to use a mouse and keyboard. It wasn't awful, but I definitely got a little frustrated using it. I played on Xbox, so I was a little frustrated with some of the little more precise actions you wanted to take. Sometimes, maybe locking the door or shooting somebody in the arm or leg or something like that. So, it was It's been a while since I played a point and click, which I was excited to play this one, but the controller just kind of wasn't a bad experience, but it wasn't great. So definitely play on PC if you're thinking about playing it.
How did you play it, Chris?
I started at Xbox and then very quickly transitioned over to PC because it was just way more comfortable to play.
Right.
I voiced some of my early frustrations playing the game, I believe, on our Discord.
Was it Discord? I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have done that, but in my back of my, I should have checked with you to see what you played on. So it's good I went through with full controller. So there you go. The console review. It's not great with the controller.
Yeah.
I suffered through it, so you don't have to.
All right. So it was difficult to play on a controller, which is, makes sense when you're playing a point and click adventure game. There is a little bit of precision that you need to have on that. So I guess that makes sense. Oh yeah. So we all played this through Game Pass, I'm guessing, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So it is still, I believe it is still available on Game Pass. So if you are interested in playing that after this review, go for it. I mean, it's still available.
As of this recording, it is
as
available.
of this recording. Yeah. As far as we know, it is not going to be taken off of Game Pass anytime soon. But I mean, it's available on every platform. So,
having said that, we're gonna wake up tomorrow to an article that says these are the games leaving Game Pass.
Yeah, I know. That's just gonna be our
Or
luck.
if you're watching it 2 years, or listening to this 2 years into the future, we can't make promises.
If that's true, then hello, future people. I hope everything's going well in 2024.
Yeah.
After the great cat uprising.
Yeah.
We know it's coming.
It's going to be terrible.
So we talked about this we mentioned this a little bit in the Discord, but about how long do you think it took you guys to finish the game? It's not a very long game.
It took me, after kind of getting used to it, it maybe took me 3 hours.
Okay. Matt, how long before you busted open the Prima Guide?
Not until the game crashed, but
that would do it.
Every now and then, there's something in life that comes along that makes you feel like a complete idiot. You guys mentioned about roughly how long it took you to beat the game. I don't know. I put maybe 8-9 hours into it. I must be an idiot, or maybe this isn't my type of game. I don't know, but I was like, holy crap, how'd these guys beat it in 3 hours or whatever you guys did? And most of it was my own fault, shoot myself in the leg for a good bit of it. But I'd probably say 8 or 9 hours because I apparently suck at this game.
Well, I started speeding through dialogue after a certain point. Like, yep.
See, I think that's where I'll bet you I could have shaved off a good 2 hours, because I don't know how many mistakes I made, because this is probably more frustrating for somebody like me that did make mistakes and didn't pick up on some of the clues right away. But when you're speeding through it, you tend to make mistakes, and then you get frustrated because since you are reliving the same 10 minutes in the game, then I get even more frustrated. So I'm like, okay, click through dialogue. Damn it, I said that one thing. Now I triggered this. I can't trigger that. Or you're speeding through trying to time the things right to grab this or that. I got to a point where I was interrogating the cop at one point, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to get the picture from the fridge. And then by the time I went and grabbed it, came back, the 10 minutes was up, and I'm like, well, got to do this again, So again, most of this was, I could have shaved off probably 2 hours just for all the mistakes I made that, my own fault. So
yeah, I ran into a couple of those things too. So I was fortunate enough that my wife and I were kind of playing the game at the same time, and so we kind of like, when one of us would get stuck, we would kind of bounce ideas off of each other's head to kind of be like, oh, like, I wonder what I wonder what this is for, or how you were to interact with this. One of the things I got actually really, really stuck on was figuring out how to tell your wife, which, by the way, nobody in this game has names. I just want to point that out. That's kind of funny, except for the nanny. Or no. Yeah, it's the nanny.
Yeah, it's
nanny.
the nanny.
Yep. The nanny is the only person in this game that has a name.
The person you play as, the husband, you kind of have a nickname, Monster.
Yeah, Monster.
So
that's going into some deep spoiler right there.
Spoiler.
All right.
Yep.
We'll get to that though. That's the twist ending. But yeah, like one of the things I had trouble doing was convincing the wife that the day was restarting over and over, because one of the things I did was I was like, oh yeah, like it's like storming outside. I could probably predict like the lightning or something like that. So I went and did the window, and then I would go and talk to her about that. And he's just like, oh yeah, it's gonna, thunder in a few moments. And she's like, yeah, well, it's storming. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, like I don't know what else. Like I got the present, I figured out the present right away. And it took me forever to figure out that, oh, it's a timing thing. Like you have to do it right away before the storm technically starts, and then you can prove it to her. And then yeah, you can skip a bunch of dialogue and all that. So I got kind of stuck on that a little bit.
I think I got stuck on a little early on too is in my brain, because you're looping. I was like, okay, there's probably to prove to her, right? Early on, when you're trying to prove that, hey, the same 10 minutes is looping, right? My brain got on, okay, there's something I could probably change, like all those different grates. There's 3 grates, the bedroom, one in the living room, and one in the bathroom. I was like, oh, I could maybe hide things, and then when it resets, something will be there. And so I probably spent a few iterations trying to figure out what I could hold on to or what I could do that wouldn't reset, early on, which, spoiler, that's not how the game was designed.
Nope.
So don't waste your time.
Right.
But yeah, so it was, yeah, so that's, I know I got stuck there early on, trying to convince the wife that, hey, time's looping, the evening's looping.
So yeah, so on a technical level then, since we're kind of diving into like the mechanics of the game, what did you guys feel about in terms of like how did you guys feel progressing through the game? Did it make a lot of sense kind of after you figured out all the puzzles and things like that, or did you bump into a couple places that you thought were really frustrating or not hinted at enough or something like that? Like did it make sense and you're like, I got it, makes sense after I figured it out? But or was it like, wow, I don't understand how anybody could have figured that out kind of a thing?
I feel like there was a couple, like one of the last ones, finding the name on the baby's clothes.
Mm-hmm.
That probably took me almost the most amount of time to kind of just like trigger that in my own head. Like, I don't know, I didn't look at once I didn't think I needed the baby's clothes anymore. Pretty much ignored it.
Oh, okay.
Forgot it
you,
existed.
I'm very methodical in my thinking. So I think what also tripped me up was once I finally started triggering things and solving the puzzles and moving a little further, I felt at times in this game, again, this could be just me missing it, that like they'd almost remember, you could almost speed through certain things a little faster once you've uncovered and talked about them before. Right. But in my brain, I didn't pick that up fast enough. So it's okay. I got to go tell her about this. I got to do this and this. And well, sometimes you can cut a lot of those steps out. Mm-hmm. Right. And actually to figure a lot of the stuff out, especially, going back and interrogating the cop, I think it was the second time, you really need to understand that, where there's a lot of times where you figure something out, you get it to like, you pull on this thread and at some point it stops, and that's as far as you go. So you got to start pulling on something else and forget about everything else that got you, you didn't have to keep following those same steps there. So I know, again, that was another thing I probably got hung up on and wasted a little more time, is like, okay, I need to repeat these steps to get to that same point. I know it was the first time I interrogated the cop. I was like, oh, there's something I missed. I need to go back and do something. And I'm like, wait, how do I trigger that dialogue again? Well, you'd already figured it out. So, there was, I'm trying to remember what dialogue it was early on there, where it was just like, it was like about the father, where you learn about, the father and the affair with the nanny and all that stuff, where a little later on, you as a player already know that, right? So there was no way for me to trigger it to get further to another question I wanted to ask, because you already figured it out as far as you needed to go. So again, I'd waste a run, or usually 2 or 3, because I'd get impatient and screw something up, or I wouldn't get one of the steps right to knocking out the wife and the cop and things like that. So that was, again, there was a lot of times where you get some of that dialogue, and A, you either don't have to repeat it, or B, you can't repeat it because you, in theory, have what information you needed from that person or that thing, whatever. So I know that's where I got stuck on a lot. I don't think me and this game were on the same wavelength, so brainwave. So,
and just to clarify, you don't knock out the wife by like physically knock out the wife. You feed her pills.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
you don't give her the slap and like knock her unconscious or something like that.
I was sadistic in this game, okay? Because at a certain point, my frustration, I let out
killing everything
on the cop, my wife, and myself.
Wow.
At a certain point, I got frustrated at the cop, so you get his gun, so I shot him. At a certain point, I got frustrated at the wife. I stabbed her. You can do that. And then another time I got frustrated at myself because I had knocked out the wife with the sleeping pills. The cop died from bleeding out. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do left. So I had the gun. You can shoot yourself. So
oh my God.
It's a brutal
dark
game.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just that's interesting that like, I mean, the game for kind of locking you into a single environment really does have a lot of interactability with it, right? Like you can interact with almost everything in the apartment.
Well, that was my thing, is I did that with a lot of things. It's just in the case of the knife you can pick up and the gun, there's some brutal options there. And I was like, again, early on, I'm like, I don't know. I missed some line. I had to restart the 10 minutes, but I was pissed in there with my wife. I was like, I wonder what I can do with this knife. I drug it onto her, and then next thing I'm like, I'm like, okay. Guess I can stab my wife. Yeah.
So Matt went down a very dark tunnel with this game.
I killed everybody in this game. Myself, my wife, the cop.
Yeah. You were going like you were going all the way on the downslope of like Groundhog's Day, where he's just like saying F it at this point.
I think that's
reveals there.
I think that was kind of like, again, kind of the cool thing about the game. There was a lot of trial and error with everything. Again, it's just a little more brutal with the knife and the gun. You have some brutal options there. So
that's true.
I had to try everything, see what happened.
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, there was a lot of trial and error because you're repeating the same cycle over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that I don't know. I think it was one of the things that I got hung up on as well was not knowing that I could use the phone to call somebody.
Oh, to call his daughter?
Yeah. Or anybody. Apparently you can call like 911.
Yeah.
You can call yourself. You can call,
911 was the first thing, because there was no numbers in the phone. So the first things I did was I called 911. You could have a conversation, whatever. There's actually a couple different dialogue options there. And I was reading through the messages and I tried calling myself. That's where I got hung up on, because I was like, maybe I can call myself on the phone and leave myself a message.
Oh.
And then give it to my wife, right? That was one thing I got.
It doesn't work like that, Matt. You start all over.
Did you guys call the insurance company?
No.
I think so.
I should have
remember.
Googled this. Like every other experience calling insurance, you spend time just waiting. I never got through to them.
They put you on hold. That's right.
Yeah. I never got to Google to see if they if you actually reach somebody, especially later in the story when you find out about the cop's daughter. I was like, oh, maybe there's something down there, some information I'll get that I can call the insurance company, and just I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah. So while we're on that, let's kind of unravel the story a little bit. So, I mean, you kind of come into this whole situation. You find out your wife's pregnant, all that good stuff. And then this cop kills you. And you're kind of thinking, wow, why does the cop want to murder me for trying to arrest my wife, who is a murderer? You eventually find out that the cop has got a very close personal connection with your wife's father. And that, I mean, doesn't justify him going rogue and killing, a family of 3. But hey, I guess that's just the way the story kind of plays out. I don't know. What did you guys think of like the story overall? I mean, we can kind of break down some of the key plot points, but like, it's kind of weird.
The ending, I mean, the whole twist ending was really like reminded me of Euro Trip.
It had the main story I felt like had holes that I couldn't resolve away. The time loop plot is kind of cool. Especially since I appreciate they never explain why.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
You never figure out
Yeah.
why you're caught in a time
And-
loop. You just are.
Frankly, I don't need to. I don't care. It's irrelevant.
That's to your point, Chris. It's one of those things where I'm okay just saying, it's a video game.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yep.
just, you know,
Yep.
It's a cool mechanic. I don't need it
yeah,
explained.
I don't
Right.
need to know why. It was just a fun way to unravel this kind of almost choose your own adventure.
A little
story,
bit. Because,
technically.
you can,
Little
you
bit.
can end up with
Not really.
a few different endings.
There's like 4 endings.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
as you get deeper into it, where the big twist, I just sat back and I said, no, that's not how this works. That's not where the story goes. That's not logical at all.
So what were your key things about like what were these big holes that you experienced?
Well,
Like what are that you identified?
So I feel like we have to get to the key point here. It turns out,
Yep.
You
Oh,
fucked your sister.
your half sister, yes, yep.
Yes.
That's where that was my reaction. You know, is that Euro trip? You kissed your sister. Or
Well,
whatever.
and it turns out that she did shoot her father. She lied to you, and she had shot her father. But you went back later and finished the job more or less. Not
It was an
knowing that
accident.
she shot him. That part isn't part of it, but you're the killer. And
The shots didn't kill it, but falling to the ground in the little tussle at the end.
but you apparently your character has no memory of it, nor any memory that he is related to her at all. And the Wikipedia page did not help me on this, because the Wikipedia page describes the so one of the huge pieces of evidence that proves that she didn't do it, your wife didn't do it, was a photo taken in New York on New Year's Eve, New York on New
Yeah.
Year's Eve.
Steve. Yep.
And the Wikipedia page describes it as where she meets you. But if that's
Right.
her alibi for how she wasn't there when he was killed, how did you go there and kill him?
Right.
That doesn't make sense. You can't
Right.
both have the same. You can't have the same alibi, but one of you was able to actually get away with it. Like, it doesn't.
So,
It bugs
real
me.
quick, what ending did everybody get?
Alone.
I got alone as well.
I got the alone ending as well.
It's kind of the easy one to
Because
get.
That
They-
one kind of like I felt dirty kind of
Yeah.
going the other route. So I was like, I don't want to choose this. That's
Yeah,
weird.
exactly.
So I think this is one of those cases. I don't know for sure, but I think they designed it in a way for you to not even play the full game, because once you get an ending, the alone ending in this case, you go back to the apartment. She's gone. She leaves you because she just can't forgive you. It was an accident. You killed her dad, so she leaves you, right? You can go back into the bathroom and with the door key, open up the grate and get the watch again and basically rewind time
Mm-hmm.
to, depending on what you're going for, either replay a little bit more of the game again or go back to that room. And just for shits and giggles, I looked up how to do the misremembered or I forget what the other ending is. I think the real ending, and that one ends where the dad starts telling you about, like, he starts whispering and it gets quieter and it fades out, but telling you like there's a way he can make you forget everything because you love your wife, or in this case you didn't know it was your sister, or sorry, you knew it was your sister, but you still loved her and all that BS, right? But he was telling you the husband, there's a way to forget it. So I think that's where leads into whatever happened, however he ends up
He gets to
kills him and then goes back, and it's not a good explanation. You still don't like what did he do, but that, at least that ending I think is the one that kind of leads into
the actual
8
game
years
start.
8 years later.
Yeah.
It
just doesn't
That
explain the
also-
alibi scenario.
Well, not even just that. To kind of dig into that a little deeper, Chris. How does he fall in love with her without ever have meeting her? Like, he never met her.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, how did he ever know about her? Like, I know that. So the idea here is that he's the half sister because the dad had an affair with the nanny,
Mm-hmm.
and what happened was that kind of caused a rift in the family. The mother ends up dying, and then the wife in this whole picture ends up running away, and then while she's running away, she ends up accidentally shooting her dad. So that's why she thinks that she killed him. That's why the cop thinks that she killed him. But then what you find out is that instead of taking one bullet, like she said, you end up telling the cop that her dad was actually shot twice. Or no, the cop tells you that he was shot twice. Which later down the line, when you see the ending, it's that, yeah, when you're wrestling around, he has the gun in his hand and you're wrestling around and he pop as you guys are wrestling the gun and he just falls over dead. And he's dead there on the floor.
I think there was another way where he just falls over and like hits his head. I think there was another, again, that little ending scene, there was a couple more.
There were some options.
Things that played out. There was one with the gun. I think there was one where he still tries to hurt you, but he falls over and like hits his head on the bookcase. And then I think what's supposed to be the real ending, like I said, is one where you quote the line out of that poetry or poem book or meditation book.
Yeah.
And then basically you get that by just sitting there not picking anything. And at a certain point he stops talking. You click on a book on the shelf behind you, and then that's when he tells you there's a way to forget, which I think leads into that meditation line. I forget what it was, something about.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just
it doesn't make a lot of sense because so the whole idea why this causes like a big problem with the family is that the nanny ends up getting pregnant with the character that you're playing as, and so he's kind of the bastard son that he kind of like shoves off to the side and somehow ends up falling in love with his daughter, but we never really understand how the two could happen where he both gets shot and he meets her at that New Year's party.
So so I think this is where the trouble, I don't know, it doesn't make sense.
The narrative doesn't make sense
because even like because there's just that big empty spot between the father dying and you meeting your wife. Like, I mean, I'm assuming the real ending or whatever, he whispers, he makes you forget. I don't know, maybe he makes you kill him and then you go off to party because it's New Year's Eve and that's when you meet your wife.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
unless he does
a completely massive city.
But to your point,
does he pull some like Hermione bullshit where like he goes and meets her and then he's like, cool, stop time. All right, let's go talk to the dad, kill the dad. All right, stop time. All right, now we're good to go. But now let's spend 8 years of our life together and have a child.
But to your point too, there's no the husband is, it sounds like, in love with her and like before he even knew her. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't really understand if so he clearly knew about the father because he sat down and talked with him and he told the father that he was in love with his daughter. But I don't know if this is like some like mental imagery thing. Like if this is like, it's so hard to say because like it paints the picture as though you had that physical interaction with her father because you're the one who killed him. But on the flip side, it also paints this picture that you're kind of in some sort of like mental like
anguish
box of you. Yeah, you're like in some mental anguish where you realize what you have done. So you're talking with her father as like your conscience or something, like what you're trying to figure out what to do next or something. Yeah. If you drill down into it, it makes absolutely no sense.
It's still go ahead.
I was just saying, of all the times I don't go watch like ending explained video before I hop on a book club.
It was just
we might need to figure this. I might need somebody to explain this to me because I'm too much of I'm too smooth brain to actually figure this one out. That's too deep for me.
Or at the very least, tell us which one is supposed to be the actual ending so we kind of have a little bit better idea of what we're supposed to go off. I think you're right. I think it's supposed to be the forgetfulness, mindfulness one, whatever it's called.
Was that it? Mindful? Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was.
I think that was the name of the meditation book, but I can't remember specifics. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It for something that started off with a very interesting plot, a very interesting, mechanics around it, to all of a sudden, like, the deeper they kept talking about monster and then the nanny, and I'm just like, wait, there's only been 3 people this whole time. Oh God, no. Like, it started clicking in my head. I see where they're going. And I really wasn't happy when they admitted to it. It's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, when they gave you the twist that you're the half brother, I was just kind of like, oh shit. I was like, that's messed up, dude. Yeah. I honestly didn't really see that coming. I was thinking that like we were gonna get introduced to like another character that
character.
hasn't, like a character that hadn't been introduced yet or hadn't been revealed, because like one of the things that came out with this game is that like this has a really cool cast to it. You know, you have Daisy Ridley, James McAvoy, and Willem Dafoe voicing the characters. So Willem Dafoe voices the cop, James McAvoy is the husband, which I honestly could not tell at all that was him. And same with
Daisy.
Daisy.
You could.
I could not tell that was. They did a really good job, kind of masking how they, I guess.
Well,
normally talk,
we've heard James McAvoy doing American accents plenty of times. Yet
right.
This time I could not pick him out.
They didn't sound like Willem Dafoe sounded like
he's
Willem Dafoe. So
yeah, that's a voice that's hard to ignore.
I'm with the police. Turn around, please.
What? Me?
Yes, you. Hands behind your back. Let's go. Hold still.
The thing that threw me, and I'm wondering if there's some weird other thing on purpose that was done here on purpose, or if it was just they had the voice actor there, was the dad at the end is voiced pretty sure by Willem Dafoe.
It is
also Willem Dafoe. Yes.
So that kind of messed my head up, going like, wait a second, is the cop maybe the because in when I went back and got the other, I did the confessed end, and you were right, it was mindfulness. I looked it up there, and there was a confessed ending that you go back and you tell your wife what you did type thing. The dad in one of the scenes had hair. The dad in another one of the scenes was bald, and it threw me for a loop. Going, wait a second, is the cop maybe the dad? I don't know, but that can't be it. But I mean, between using the same voice actor and then
I feel like it's something that it's of a single person developing it, and he didn't have the budget. That had to come from Annapurna getting that voice cast, and just didn't figure out to get someone else to play the dad.
Yeah. They're just like, hey, like, since you're here, Willem, and we got you for another 45 minutes, could you just read a couple of extra lines for us?
Yeah.
Or I wonder if there was a different plot where the cop was somebody else.
The dad or something like that.
That could be.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because we really don't learn a lot about the cop other than he has a daughter
really sick
who's got like we never did find out what it was.
I thought
it's cancer.
I was gonna say I'm fairly certain we know it was cancer.
Yep.
Well, see, he was pissed every time I asked him about his daughter for a while there.
What
about your daughter? Like, what did you just say?
You just have to harass her when you call her. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
That was kind of the fun part, is like being this creepy dude calling, I don't know, they don't say how, like this, guy's daughter, and just being like, one time I tried, I'm stuck in a time loop. She's just like, lose my number, creep.
Yep.
Another time I was like, I'm the murderer or something like that. And then she's like, what? Like, yeah. But yeah, no, it was interesting.
So did you guys have a good time with like the puzzles to the game? So doing the things like, for example, like figuring out that, like that picture on the fridge would be good for as evidence that your wife was innocent, or shocking the cop to knock him unconscious with the busted light switch.
What the?
I'm not gonna lie, the only way that I figured that out is because I flipped the switch myself and knocked myself unconscious the first time. So
I figured it out because I murdered my wife. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. Spoiler. The first time you go in there, you flip on the light, it goes psst, right? And then you can turn it off. You don't get shocked.
Right.
It's only the second time, right? That's a constant in the game. The second time you turn on the switch. So I asked her to, whenever I went in there, search around, one of my early playthroughs, and I flipped it on, looked around the room, flipped it off, right? Then you go out and say, hey, honey, I'm ready for dessert or whatever. And she goes into the room because that's when she gets the gift with the baby clothes in it, right?
Yep.
Well, she turns on the light when she does that, and she dies. I'm like, what
She
what
dies
just happened? Yeah, because you die from it.
You don't die from it. You get knocked unconscious.
Yeah, which immediately starts the loop again.
I'm pretty sure she
Oh,
dies.
for me, it was just like, it just wasted a bunch of time.
Oh,
and then
really?
I got back up. Yeah. For me, it wasted a bunch of time, and then I got back up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that just knocks you out for a little while.
I'm guessing it probably depends on if it's before or after a certain trigger, I'll bet.
I'm sure it's time based. I mean,
yeah. I'm pretty sure she was dead, because I could have sworn I walked in there and it said like wife and then dead, like sometimes it's like unconscious or dead, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it said it was I don't know, but no, that was like what I realized. Okay, when you go into the medicine cabinet and there's sleeping pills, I'm like, okay, I'm not drugging myself. That
I
makes
did
no
try.
I mean,
sense.
you can.
I mean,
You,
yeah,
you can in fact take them yourself. I did that too.
Can you dry
But-
swallow? Because that's what I tried to do and it didn't work.
No, I
You
did
have to
stuff
put them
like
into your cup.
yeah, you put them into your cup because I
Oh.
think he says like the pills are too big or something like that.
What a baby.
Yep.
but
I flushed them down the toilet at one point. I tried to
Oh.
see if there was something cool that I could do with the toilet, but there was not. At
There
least I didn't
was-
find
you-
anything.
Again, that was one of my early playthroughs when I was trying to hide things in different places, thinking it might carry over to the next try. I put the watch into the toilet. It's like, again, just
Did you
trying
flush
things.
it?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I wonder if it would have clogged
I kind
it. But
of yeah, I kind of want to
Oh,
know
boy.
what happens. I mean, I'm sure nothing happens if you flush it. You just don't get to use it anymore. But yeah, like
But-
I tried doing stuff like that too, where I was trying to hide things in the vents.
Mhm.
It took me forever to figure out that there was a vent in the bathroom because like when you open the cabinet in the bathroom, like you can't really see that there's a vent unless you hover your mouse
Yeah.
in like
Yeah.
the right spot.
Yep.
There was, I think the reason for that is because early on, as you're playing through it and you realize, okay, the cop comes in, blah blah, blah, kills you. It was like, okay, one of my early thoughts was grab the knife, right? Run. So when you first walk into your apartment at the start of the loop, your wife's in the bathroom whistling, and you have I don't know, 10, 15 seconds maybe where she doesn't know you're home. So I was like, one of my early thoughts was go grab the knife, go hide in the closet, and then whenever he comes in, he zip ties her
God.
arms. I'm going to come out of the closet and stab him, or he'll be searching around the apartment. I can come out and cut the zip tie, right? None of that works, by the way, because apparently when you open the door, he's like, oh, stop right there. And you're just helpless and you're an idiot. It's a game. You can't do anything. But if you just sit there and again, this game is brutal. So it isn't just me killing things. The game itself, you get strangled out.
A lot.
You get knocked out. You get shocked. You get but if you sit in that closet, you can watch your wife die, which is very disturbing. But through that string that you pull on there, you find out there's I'm pretty sure that's the spot where she tells him there's in the vent in the bathroom.
Yep.
Right. And it's like, cool, I've
Yeah.
got everything I need from you. Pop, pop. He goes and gets it and leaves. So I think you're supposed to do, at some point, hopefully come to that conclusion of hide in the closet. And then you get that clue of, oh, there's something under the bathroom. Or in the vent in the bathroom. So yeah.
It took me all the way up to the end of the game to figure out that you can actually use your keys to get the vent open.
I always use the knife, but yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't,
I always used the knife too.
Really?
it
yeah.
wasn't until the ending, literally in Alone, the Alone
Yeah.
ending,
Gosh.
where I'm like, okay, well, what's in the vent here? What do I got? Well,
See-
just my room key. And it was like, oh, it worked. I should have figured that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Right,
I
yeah.
still use my keys from time to time to open up screws if I don't want to go hunting for a screwdriver. So that was like the first thing I did was like, oh,
I like a big knife.
But
But-
that's one of the things I did like about this game is that there was like multiple ways of figuring
Mhm.
out a lot of this stuff, like you can interact with a lot of things in a bunch of different ways. Did you guys water the plant?
Oh yes,
I
You got the achievement
did.
for watering the plant?
better
I
believe
did not. I kept watering it, and there was a flower on it at one. Was there multiple flowers that probably pop up?
No, it's just that when you water it, if you take a glass of water and you pour it on the plant, you get an achievement.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one where if you keep watering it,
Yeah,
it
it says
slowly
let it grow.
grows.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
guess
know that.
I guess I didn't water. I saw it growing, so I kept doing it, but apparently that was later in my place, so maybe I didn't water it enough. But no, I mean,
I
to
don't
your
know.
point, I like there were different ways to do things because the first way I found out to knock out my wife with the sleeping pills was actually because if she sees you do it, obviously she goes, "What are you trying to do? You trying to roofie me?" And it gets mad, right?
Mhm.
I didn't realize that you could literally I usually grabbed her glass, waited for her to come out of the bathroom, walk in, shut the door, grab the pills, put them in, come out, and put it back on the table next to her. And then she gets thirsty at one point.
Yep.
That's the easiest way to do it. But I like doing things hard, as I've explained here already a few times. You can, when you have her, she makes dessert. and you can sit down and have dessert. She also takes a sip there. So that was the first time I noticed her taking a drink. So I had to play through that whole scene of getting her to, sit down and set the table and have dessert. And I'd usually put the pills in her drink when she walked to the room to grab the baby clothes. So
see, you were even doing it even harder because what I would do was almost the same thing. It would be like, I would walk in the room, grab both glasses, and then I would go into the bathroom, fill one up, dump pills in it, walk out, and you can just hand her the glass of water, and she'll just be
really?
like, oh yeah, and she was like, oh, I was thirsty anyway, thank you, and then she'll drink it.
See, I told you, I made this game. Made it much harder on myself. Apparently.
You got to make sure you grab both glasses, otherwise she'll go and she'll fill one up.
Exactly.
And she'll start drinking it herself.
Yeah, I mean that's the timing of it for certain things is
right.
You don't need to grab both, but you need to get in, put the pills, and then either come out and give it to her or put it on the table next to her.
Put it in.
She only grabs the one next to the sink if you take the mug that's next to her. So
right.
But
yeah,
she also if she sees you put the pills in, she gets mad and asks you if you're roofing her. She also gets mad if you don't shut the bathroom door and you go in to get the watch that way, because she sees you down on the floor. She's like, "What are you doing?"
She's like, "Whoa, wait, what are you doing?" And then she gets mad and storms off out of the apartment.
So okay, that reminds me of something else that doesn't make sense. There was once or twice in the game where she gets mad at you. Like you're mad at you that you're finding this watch after she lied to you, and you're just like, wait, why are you mad at me? You've been lying to me about murdering your dad.
Right.
Or later on, she gets mad at you for murdering her dad after she admits to you that she thought she did after it's like they're both really bad things to do, and she just get only mad at you and not be like, well, I shot him too, so I guess we're even.
We're even.
Right. But yeah, there was one or two conversations where I'm like, bitch, come on. You're mad at me?
I think messing around with the cop was kind of fun. Did you ever try to I'm kind of curious because I never got it. I don't think I ever did it successfully, but did you ever get it to where you would successfully shock the cop to knock him unconscious and then have him wake up and then untie him?
Yeah, I accidentally did that. I hit
what
the
does
wrong
he
button.
do? Oh, for me, he always just punched me and then I restarted.
Yep. He fought back and even though I had a knife, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
and he took me down.
Oh.
So if you here's the thing. I again figured this out all the hard way and a million times doing it. If you shock him, you go in and get the zip tie, you zip him up. What was it? He comes, he comes back, from being unconscious, and he starts yelling at you, and you say, "Hey, I'm innocent." There's a line where he says, "Okay, just do what I say." If you do what he says, he'll get up. Now, here's the thing why I say just take the zip tie, because I had the habit of going and grabbing everything, his gun, his knife, his phone. If you take anything other than the zip tie, he goes, "Why would you take blah, blah, blah from me?" And then he headbutts you or stabs you or whatever, right? But if you just zip tie him, let him get up, and you listen to everything he says, he tells you to go wait in the living room, sit on the couch. He shuts the door. Again, your wife at this point is unconscious on the bed because if you did it right, she's sleeping pills, right? Mm-hmm. You hear after a couple minutes, pop, pop. He comes back out, has you call the emergency number. That's where 911 came in handy, and tell him that you came home to your wife being murdered, and then leaves. And
what the?
That's also a dark ending. Right. Wow. This dude's insane. Well, so I guess we should probably explain at some point that the whole reason that the cop is even after this pocket watch. So not only is he interested in your wife for murdering someone that he considers to be kind of like a mentor figure to him. He was close to her father. He's also looking for a pocket watch that he owned. It's a very valuable pocket watch, but the whole reason you end up finding out that he's even after this is because he's trying to pay for his daughter's cancer treatment. So they're racked up on medical bills. And I mean, it's kind of a really bad reason to go in and start committing murder to somebody's daughter that you think is a murderer. But hey, whatever. We'll just wait. Don't think about it too hard.
And clearly the dad was kind of a piece of crap because she felt abused enough to actually shoot him in the first place.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
To run away and shoot him.
Yeah, like there's some weird, like, you have to accept some things that just feel kind of gross to just accept and brush aside.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was also always looking for the wife, and it wasn't until she wanted to sell it to get money to help support the incoming child that he was able to find her.
Yes.
I also thought there was going to be something special about the watch, especially since, again, it's not explained, but later in the game you can use it to reverse time and replay certain bits of it. So I thought there was going to be a twist there, like he wanted it to, I don't know, maybe turn back if it did have the power and it wasn't just a hand waving game mechanic. Like, don't think about this too hard. I thought, well, if it can change time, we can go back in time. Maybe he'd go back and save the dad that way or something, right? But nope, nothing. Who knows? It just sounded like he wanted to kill the wife and find the watch and sell it for cancer treatment for his kid.
Which after, talking with, it's really funny. I mean, imagine getting that phone. So what you do eventually is you talk to the cop, you find out that he's got a daughter who's got cancer, all that stuff. If you pickpocket his phone after he's unconscious, you can start calling his daughter. And then it's really like, imagine getting that phone call from like your daughter, because as he's walking up to the apartment, you can set it up so that you call his daughter and you say, hey, by the way, your dad's coming to hurt us. Please don't let him hurt us. Can you like distract him or something? Imagine getting that phone call of like, oh, hey, dad, some weird guy just called me and told me don't hurt people. Okay, bye.
Which, I mean, that's important to, would you say maybe the second phase to get information? Because what is it? So after you interrogate interrogate the cop and find a bunch of information, the next real loop and what you need to do is talk to the wife.
Yeah.
And learn more. And then if you've called the cop's child and then give your wife the picture, then you have that whole little conversation. You find out that it was this monster character.
Where you start piecing
that's
it all
how
together.
But he doesn't kill you then.
You have to start calling her for like the last half of your loops to get the cop to like hold up there a second. Like, let's talk.
Because really, like, finding out that calling the daughter kind of pacifies the cop is really that one bridge between like the middle of the game and the end of the game. That's where you really can start focusing in on like, oh, now we can get the cop to talk to the wife so that they can be like, well, he was shot with 2 bullets. And he's like, well, I only shot him once. Like, that wasn't me. He went into the hospital and didn't die. Oh, then that must not have been me then. Oh, you want the pocket watch? Here you go. And then I was like, cool, I'm done with the game. He's got his pocket watch. Everybody's happy. And then it started over again. I was like, what the shit? That wasn't the end of the game. That was the Groundhog's Day ending. Like, everybody's happy. We're all good now. No, that's not how it ends.
Nope. Got to keep creepily calling his daughter. What did I do? There was one point where I called the I'm trying to remember which, again, because tried so much stuff. There was something where I called the daughter. And then he came in, I pissed him off, and he was mad that why are you calling my daughter? And then he murders me, strangles me or whatever. So.
I just like when you call the daughter and you're like, hey, your dad thinks that my wife is a murderer. Can you call him and tell him to go away? And she's like, well, maybe she shouldn't be a murderer then. I'm like, wow, rude.
I mean, it's a fair point.
I mean, sure, but come on, help me out here.
I also like that you're, cold calling. I'd say sounds like a teenage age girl, who knows,
she
right?
Sounds like,
but it's like, okay, you're cold calling a teenager, and then you're just there's one right thing to say to her, but everything else she's like, you're a creep, and hangs up on you. I'm like, okay, so if I just say my wife's innocent, she's not a murderer, that's the right thing to say, that'll cause her to call her dad. But if I say, I'm the murderer, she's just like, lose this number, creep, or obviously I guess it'd make a little bit more sense about, I'm stuck in a 10-minute time loop, that's but it's
See, and in my mind's eye, she's sitting there in the middle of getting like a chemo treatment, and this weirdo starts calling her about.
She's not. She's on her way to the movies. Did you get that from her?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she's going to like because after a certain point you can't call her anymore.
That's because I was like,
right.
oh, maybe, I think it was the second time you have to interrogate. I think I was to that point, second time interrogating a cop, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to call his daughter while I'm sitting here with my, knee on his neck, and I call, and it's just like, oh, hi, I'm at the movies. Call me back later. I'm like, son of a bitch. That's not it. And then I had to shoot the cop and start.
Doesn't sound like she really needs the pocket watch money if she has movie money.
Yeah, exactly.
You've gone to a movie these days? It is expensive.
That's true. She's probably going to one of them, lounge seats, IMAX sort of deals.
How dare her? How dare her?
Cool. So above all, then, I mean, like, what was your guys' reception of this game then? I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but I mean, overall, for kind of a very niche indie title, I mean, what did you guys think about it?
I enjoyed it in the first hour. Again, I was shooting myself in the leg, so I started getting frustrated with it, which I think led to some interesting scenarios, as I've talked about here already.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely towards the end, I was ready to be done. I think that because the repetitive Groundhog's nature of it is a cool idea, but if you suck at it like I do, it got really annoying. It got so annoying, and I wish it was a fast read. I wish I could have just pressed a button on the controller. There's ways you can go sleep on the bed, you can kill yourself, you can walk out the front door. But there was sometimes where I'm like, damn, I messed that run up.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to press a button and start me back to the start of night. So I think a little like QOL there changes would have been nice. But yeah, I think if I was like you guys and I was smarter and I got it done in 3 hours, I'd probably have a different opinion of it. I didn't hate the game, but shooting myself in the foot definitely lost the shine wore off very quickly.
All right, what do you think, Chris?
A lot of really cool ideas, but it clearly suffers from one person working on the whole thing. Like, someone else, if you had more people, I'm sure they would have had a pass at the story and sat back and said, yeah, this doesn't really work. Let's fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I know it's a stupid nitpicky thing to get into, but every time they held out the watch and gave it to each other, you saw their hands clip right through the watch, and it just really bugged me every single time I saw it. I'm like, I get it. One person did this, but still, it's a really basic animation. Why can't you just pass that object?
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, overall, I think the gameplay was really fun. I really liked interacting with all of the different elements and trying to piece together. Like, I did like the fact that even if the story was kind of rough around the edges, just the whole mystery of it, of like going back in time and unraveling a mystery, was actually really, really cool. It was very reminiscent of like a Memento kind of thing. If you've ever seen that movie, it kind of reminded me of something similar to that. Whereas, I mean, Memento had a pretty cool story, where this one's kind of a weird story. But I think they were probably trying to go too hard at coming up with a really gross twist or just a really crazy twist, that it was just like, well, this twist doesn't, like, it's a twist, yeah, but you kind of like, it was way too much of a twist. Yeah, you tried way too hard to get a twist in there. But I think overall, I had a really, really good time with it. This was one of those games that I think coming out of E3, I think it was this year, coming out of E3 this year, that I was really, really excited to play, which is why I decided to pick it, because this game only came out in like August. So this is this is fairly new, even for like, for most of the book club games that we do. I mean, they're not usually very recent.
Months or years.
Right. So
that's 2 in a row though. Resident Evil was pretty early, and now this one. So
right. So overall, yeah, I thought it was. My opinion of it is that I had a fairly high opinion of it. Yeah, the story was kind of weird. Like the ending didn't land for me. Yeah. I thought the ending, while it was kind of funny and gross, but like, yeah, it just didn't really land.
The mystery was fun though.
The mystery was very fun. I would love to see more games like this, personally, especially if they do some of those quality of life features, or, get
Just-
more people
I
in,
was
get
gonna
more
say, just have
creatives
more
involved
people.
get more
Yeah.
creatives involved to kind of, bounce more ideas to make this thing make a lot more sense. And I mean, it just even just expanding it, like if you had like a whole apartment level or something like that, that'd be kind of cool too. Like, because even if it was like, I know that Matt, you kind of, you took some time to finish this one, but like even something that lasted even like 6-7 hours would have been really, really sick. Like I kind of felt like I ended the game wanting a little bit more out of it, because I was like, that was really fun, I was actually enjoying myself. Kind of would have been nice to have more puzzles like that.
Just suck at the games more, and you'll take longer, and you'll have more time with it.
I'm sorry, man, I can't do that. I'm a god gamer, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch the Shining reference?
I did not. What was the Shining reference?
The carpet outside in the hallways of the apartment building. It's the same carpet as the Shining Hotel, the Stanley Hotel, Overlook Hotel. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh no, I didn't I'm not a carpet expert.
Disappointed, guys.
I did not
carpet
identify.
experts. It's more fun.
Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me though. I mean, so the developer of this game was kind of taking that as inspiration, right? Like he was using Kubrick movies, and he had a couple of inspiration. Like he was using movies as kind of a big inspiration for this. I'm really surprised that they ended up getting the cast that they did.
Right.
Like I don't know why they decided to go with such a star-studded cast, but I mean, I don't think, and that's the funny thing, is that like you really could have gotten anyone else to voice it, and I probably wouldn't have. It probably wouldn't have made it that much of a difference.
But I really like Defoe as the cop. No
I
matter
was gonna
what.
say, I'm a Defoe fan. Not like I watched every movie or something he's in.
So
but
you would
if he's
call
in
yourself
movie,
you would
you
call
enjoy.
yourself a defriend.
different. But like anytime he's in a movie I watch, it's like, this guy's so good, right? Yeah, it was nice. I didn't feel so bad when he was strangling me. I was like, okay, I'd let Willem Dafoe strangle me. So
You want to get
We are
strangled by the
learning
Green Goblin?
so much about Matt
So-
tonight.
I know.
I was
Matt,
not
Matt's
ready
got
for
like
this.
the dark. He's got all the dark endings. He just wants to be strangled by Willem Dafoe. Like, this is going to be a really interesting description for this episode.
One of these days, we'll
Matt
have to
goes
give
to
an
a dark
a
place.
copy of this episode to Matt's therapist. Like, oh yeah, this is where it all started. Got it.
This is when the
fantasy about getting strangled by Willem Dafoe is really weird.
Or we submitted as evidence for your restraining order from Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
He just wants to be strangled by him. He doesn't want to do anything violent towards Willem Dafoe.
I'm just saying, if I was to be strangled, I'd be okay if it was Willem Dafoe that did it. I'm not saying I want to be strangled, but no,
Hey.
I really enjoyed him as the cop. And again, I knew McAvoy and Ridley were in there, but
It couldn't.
I
be-
honestly
my
couldn't
brain
tell.
couldn't
No.
pick him out, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, that's
No.
Space Jesus, or that's, I don't even know what I've watched recently with
Space
McAvoy.
Jesus.
What is, I don't even know what.
Like the new X-Men's,
I was gonna say
No, I haven't even watched
X-Men.
those.
What is it that?
like Days of Future Past, and like
Maybe
all the
that.
ones where Wolverine goes back, like the like the
Well, yeah, he's
origins
the,
and all that.
The
Or
newest
not origins, but, like-
Professor X.
Yeah.
He was
I'm
also
behind on the X-Men movies.
Or he was also in
Split, Mr.
Split.
Glass, the
Yep.
M. Night Shyamalan stuff.
I
the
wanted to watch those.
Unbreakable like
Yeah.
cinematic universe.
I love Unbreakable. It's a
I
great
do too.
superhero movie.
It is. But yeah, he was in that.
Mhm.
Not Unbreakable, but
The
other
Split,
two.
yeah.
yeah, he was in Split and
And the
Glass.
other one, yeah.
But yeah,
Sounds like I need to watch more movies.
you need to watch more James McAvoy movies. Yeah.
I mean, I tell
X-Men
people,
and Split and Glass.
yeah,
Apparently.
you could probably hold off on the X-Men stuff. They're not good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Some of it's okay, but yeah,
It's-
well, a large portion was
Yeah.
not that great.
It was a up here and then it just dived down by the last two flicks. So
Mm-hmm. Well, cool.
Good to know.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts about 12 minutes?
I'll give a tip, because when I Googled it, apparently it's happened before. If you're playing 12 minutes and you run into a crash like I did, where you couldn't progress past the point of finding out that you're the monster, assuming you're on Xbox and PC or Game Pass, I should say. I think Steam has cloud save, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was able to solve my issue by deleting the save, and then the cloud sync brought the save back in. I don't know why that worked, but that was one of the tips that was tried. So, tip of the day there. But
That's weird. I never ran into that issue.
Yeah, it was so frustrating because I was like, I figured it out, and then it crashed, and it crashed again, and then I was like, I'll try it on PC, and then it crashed. That's when I opened the Prima guide because I was like, I don't know did I do something wrong? Is there something else I need to do?
It's part of the story that the computer crashes.
Crash, yeah. It's making me more frustrated.
My only tip would be keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Seriously. Keyboard and
I didn't
mouse.
play it with controller, but that seems to be the general consensus is that if you're going to play a game where you have to use a cursor very heavily, just use a mouse for it. And I'm sure you can plug in a mouse into your Xbox and make it work.
Has support, but I don't know if that's by specific game now.
It's by specific.
I think
games.
the game has to support it.
Yeah, you have to. There's so many times you like have to be in a specific spot and you'll know it. And getting your cursor there with the Xbox controller is a nightmare.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I don't have any other closing thoughts. I don't think, other than this is a pretty decent point and click sort of adventure mystery game. So if you're into those kinds of games, I think that this is at least worth a try. I don't know. Would you guys agree to that? Yeah. It's at least worth kind of like an attempt.
Yeah.
It might take you at most, what, Matt, 7 hours or so?
A weekend?
8 hours.
It's not going to take you a whole ton of time. So yeah, give it a shot. Play it.
Cool. Would you recommend playing it, Matt?
It was my first point and click game in I don't even know how long. Maybe
full throttle, baby.
It's been a long time. But yeah, I wasn't on the same wavelength as the game, so it took me longer. Again, whenever I was enjoying it and figuring out the puzzles and learning more about the story before it got weird, and probably the first hour of the game, I did enjoy it. So, I mean, if you're into the point and click games or if you have Game Pass, you almost have no excuse. Go play it, right? It's not a very long game if you're a little smarter than me. So,
cool.
I had fun. Wasn't my favorite, but
yeah, I had fun as well. Cool. Well, then I think that's going to probably wrap it up for this week's episode and the last book club of the 2021 year. It's been a really good year for book clubs, I think. What do you guys?
A lot of fun games, yeah.
We've had a lot of really good games, from like, Journey to A Plague Tale. Metro was one of the best ones.
Damn straight.
Psychonauts, Control.
Yeah, we had a lot of good fun this year. So I'll say to you, dear listener, be sure to stand by on the Campies. We're kind of coming up with some of the good categories for the Campies. It's our own little award show to go along with the Game Awards. So we'll our next couple of episodes will be, I think we got one more episode coming up that's not going to be related to any of those things.
Yep.
And then, we'll be covering the Game Awards, and then we will also be doing the Campy Awards. So stay tuned for that. If you're an avid book club person, I'm sure we're going to have a category for, our thoughts on book clubs or something like that. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. It'll be exciting. So with that said, be sure to, do your due diligence and join our Discord so that you can suggest more book clubs to us. We love it. You can find that at campfiregamingpodcast.com. You can also find links to our social media, our Twitter at Camp Game Pod, and our Instagram at Campfire Gaming Podcast. Gentlemen, it's been great talking with you both. Thank you for playing this game for me and indulging in my pick for this one. So with that, I'll see you guys next time around the campfire.